The perfection of my heart is gratefulness. The perfection of my heart is gratefulness. It's one of my favorite lyrics from this Hezekiah Walker song. And the perfection of my heart, the perfection of your heart is gratitude. It is a power. It is a tool. It is a practice. It is a gateway to so much, to your greater good, to the collective greater good, to your divine holy nature, to the one itself. I believe gratitude may be our greatest spiritual power, which is why you and I are going to spend this series diving deep into it so that you and I can access this and provide this from a place of overflow, from abundant gratitude. I am Reverend Amani Malaika, and I am so glad, I am so grateful that you are here. So let's get into it. Gratitude, I think, is everybody knows about it. Doesn't matter what your faith tradition is. You could be an atheist and practice gratitude, right? Oprah Winfrey and the gratitude journaling, right? We've all been exposed to this practice in some form or fashion. But what I want to go a little deeper into is why. And an actual practice, right? Like, let's actually get into the practice of it. But I want to talk about why gratitude is such a powerhouse. And so think for a moment of moments in your life where you've been filled with a feeling of gratitude. And I know that feeling it's special, it's unique. Gratitude is this sense of being fulfilled. And I think it points to one of the perennial wisdom teachings, which is something that Rabbi Rami Shapiro calls, aliveness. And that it is this experience of our full aliveness that is our true holy nature. And it is in all faith traditions that it is, there are practices and ways that you and I can access this aliveness. And that one of the great perennial wisdom teachings from across time and tradition is this search, this longing to be fully present, to be fully here, to know ourselves as whole, is met in this aliveness. That longing to know your whole true self is to know yourself fully alive. And that this is the greatest achievement in spiritual life, right? This is the perennial wisdom teaching that runs across all the teachings. And gratitude for me is the feeling of aliveness. When I am deeply connected to feeling grateful, I feel fully alive. It is what I imagine all of the great mystics and wisdom teachers are trying to point us to, is that feeling, is that experience. And gratitude does that for you, for me. And I want you to think of those moments when you've been filled with a sense of gratitude. Think of what that feels like in your body. How juicy it is, how alive you feel in those moments. And then take that a step further. And Jen Sincero of You Are a Badass and her other book, You Are a Badass at Making Money, which is really fabulous if you're looking for a sort of how-to in financial abundance. But in her writing, she talks about gratitude as the gateway. It is the gateway drug to greater abundance. And I cannot agree more. That feeling of, I am so happy to have breath in my body. I'm so grateful to be here on the planet in this moment right now. That resonant vibration is what attracts, what brings you into harmony with greater good. Because it literally changes the frequency that you are vibrating at, which means you are now a match for that frequency, that delicious, fully alive, whole, perfect, delighted frequency, which is going to be a match for everything that you desire in your life, which is going to be a match for the kind of world you and I want to be living in, right? You and I want to be vibrating in this place of aliveness and wholeness and gratefulness. And you get to participate in creating that vibration for the collective. That we each get to have the experience of this delight, of this good, of this aliveness, of this abundant joy and gratefulness. So the practice is way more than, making yourself feel better on a bad day, because it can do that too. Having a grateful list, having a gratitude journal, having a practice of saying thank you in your prayers, having a practice of identifying something you're grateful for in a difficult moment. All of these practices, super great practices, by the way, do something that is sometimes beyond our understanding. It changes how you feel. It changes how you resonate. It changes your frequency. That is why it's so special and so powerful. And so I want you to understand that you can get this gratitude practice into a habit in your life. I know for me, it's a go-to. It's a go-to. One of the first prayers I pray every day is thank you. Thank you. Thank you, life. Thank you, breath. Thank you, God. That right there can center me so beautifully, so wholly as I begin my day. And it's not because the words are magic. It's because that feeling of gratitude changes my frequency, changes my resonance, allows me to begin my day resonating at a place of wholeness, of holiness. This is available to every single one of you. Every single life, every conscious being on this planet has this available to them. Regardless of what you believe, regardless of your faith, regardless of your cosmology, your theology, makes no difference. This practice is a superpower practice because it works for everybody all the time. Take a moment right now with me and begin to chant, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, life. Thank you, breath. Thank you, Holy Blessed One. Thank you, Self, for taking this moment, for breathing this breath consciously and wholly, remembering that to be alive is so good. One of the things that I'm going to invite you to do during this series and this whole practice, because it is my prayer that you take this gratitude idea and you make it a habit in your life. You let it serve you, you let it serve your relationships, you let it serve the collective, and you let it ripple out, changing the frequency of those around you, of the energy around you, raising the vibration for greater good. This is game-changing stuff. So what if you can store up all of that good juju and then go to your storage and get it when you need it? You know, I have been deeply in harvest season, right? This is fall approaching and winter approaching and fall here. And so much of my garden is ready to be harvested. You know, much of the fruit on my fruit trees are ready to be harvested. And so I decided this year that I was ready to go all in to preserving. And I was nervous about it. I was nervous about canning, and I've done freezing in the past. I've even done some fermenting, but I was ready to do some canning so that I could really store up some of this goodness, some of this summer goodness, and have it for the winter when there's no fruit on the trees, when my garden isn't producing fruit, when there are no more tomatoes on the vine. And I thought, this is the year I am going to take this ancient practice of preserving this lovely, lovely, amazing food that this earth has provided for me, and that I'm going to do so with such reverence and honor and gratitude. And it has come with some work. That was one of the things I wanted to talk to you about today, is this practice and this harvesting of the fruit of growth. Right? It is a stewardship. It is a stewardship of the work you have done, the seeds you have planted, the seeds you have nurtured and grown into a full, mature place that could bear fruit. Think about that. Think about the work you have done, the labor you have undertaken as you've planted seeds in your own consciousness and nurtured those seeds and watered those seeds and cultivated the soil of your own being, the soul of you, to grow those things to bear fruit. Yeah. And that when the fruit arrives, right? When the plant actually blossoms into an edible thing, a usable thing, a medicine, a food, there's a way to preserve that for the dark times. And this is what I want you and I to practice during this series, is to nurture, plant the seeds of gratitude, nurture that gratitude. Nurture the gratitude as a soil fertility, as a soul fertility, because it is the feeling of grateful. It's so good. That can carry you through some hard times, but you and I have to do the stewarding and the work of cultivating that soul, cultivating with a practice of gratitude, so that it can feed the soul, so that it can feed your consciousness, so that it can change your vibration and your frequency, which then creates the ground that you can then grow from, that you can move from, that you can expand, that you can radiate out into the collective. And so, just like I have been preserving peach sauce and frozen apples and applesauce and pear sauce and tomato sauce and all the things that I have been preserving from my garden from this season of abundant fruit, I want you to begin to cultivate the fruit of gratitude through a daily gratitude practice, so that during the winter, during the dark times, during those moments when you don't remember what it feels like to be fully alive and whole and perfect, the perfect heart is the heart of gratitude. That you've got a pantry full to rely on. That you've harvested a gratitude practice, so that it's there for you in the moments when you forget. So I want to encourage you, if you are not already participating on the Center's Spirit Flow app, we are going to be doing a daily gratitude challenge. There is a community forum on that chat, on the app, Spirit Flow, where you can post every day a gratitude or 10, where you can type in or put an image that helps you remember, that then maybe already begins to expand and extend your gratitude to others. So on the Transformation Community Forum, which is within the Spirit Flow app, you and I are going to post every day during this series. You and I are going to preserve. This is how you and I are putting up, as they say in the canning world, our gratitudes, which will then be this huge treasure trove, this huge pantry full of gratitudes that you can go back to all winter long, anytime you need it. So to participate in the Gratitude Challenge, join me on the Spirit Flow app. If you're not already on the app, head over to the Next Steps page on our website, abqcsl.org, and begin posting your daily gratitudes. Let's cultivate the ground of good together. I love you so much.